Hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to a new edition of the EKN Debrief as we cap off our coverage of the opening round of the 2026 Superkarts USA Winter Series, which is held down at Speedsportz Racing Park in New Caney, Texas. My name's Rob Howden. David Cole, of course, will join us. He'll do the heavy lifting here today as he was trackside throughout the weekend down in Texas. This is episode 161. It is Wednesday, January the 14th, 2026. And today's show is being presented by Comet Kart Sales. History, success, family. These are the three words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation is located just outside Indianapolis and has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in their near 6 decades of business. Their brand new updated online store features everything you need, and they are continually adding new parts to their product line. Make sure you head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. All right, we're underway, folks. Again, the event we're talking about right now, to cap things off, our EKN trackside coverage, the Superkarts USA Winter Series kicking off on January 10th to the 11th down at the beautiful Speedsportz Racing Park in New Caney, Texas. David Cole, let's bring you in. You were trackside all weekend long. Let's get started on the discussion on the first 2 rounds of this 4-round championship program.
Yeah, a new era for the Superkarts USA Winter Series going to Texas. First time leaving the state of Florida since the program began back in 2018. So it was quite a new experience for everyone, including Superkarts USA. The competitors have already been there, many of them from the Texas region or the southern part of the country, but also a lot of them from the Winter Nationals last year, where the Pro Tour kicked off in 2025. So a familiar location for everybody. So not necessarily new, but a new era as the Winter Series moves to Lone Star State. So. And Rob, the weather obviously a factor. We're in the winter months, so you never quite know what you're going to get. It was warm on Friday, rain at the end, so we did have some wet weather sessions to close out the practice day, and big heavy rain came throughout the night. So made for a wet but cold track on Saturday, where temperatures dropped by 20 degrees from Friday.
Wow.
So we were in the 50s all day on Saturday with a good breeze, good cold wind to keep it cool. So the sun was out occasionally, but better weather on Sunday as it got into the 60s and the sun was out all day long, but still waking up to where it was almost frost, Rob. So it does get cold down there in Texas.
Well, it's interesting, Dave. Every morning I was watching your 1-minute flat shots up on social media. And I kind of was picking up what you were wearing, what clothes you were going to be wearing, and did you have a jacket on or whatever it may be? I know you had a Chicago Bears jersey on at one point, which is good for you for sure.
Yeah, you have to represent the winning colors on Sunday morning after an emotional Saturday night.
That was a wild game
all day. Or all night, I should say, crying in pain during the first half and then crying for joy in the second half.
I can imagine you would have been insufferable watching that game with the comeback in the second half.
Well,
for sure.
I think everybody was lucky. It was on Prime, so I literally brought my Roku so I could watch it in the hotel because I knew none of the bars would have it.
Yeah.
Because of being on Prime, it's very tough to get. So, of course, the hotel bar didn't have it. So, yes, I watched it by myself in the hotel room. Quick story about that. I took that jersey off after the first half. So,
okay.
We texting with fellow Bears fans. I'm sure you know who they are.
I do.
Yes, we all changed our shirts after halftime. One even showered. He was so disgusted with the first half. So,
so what you're saying is you played a role in the victory.
I think we all did. I think all Bears fan did. I think we all. I even moved off the bed to the desk and started writing because I was like, what's the point in putting my 100% attention on the game? And yes, so.
All right. Well, listen, let's, as you said, first and foremost, a different weekend in terms of weather. You're down at Homestead or in Orlando, a lot of times you're going to deal with those, 70, 80 degree temperatures, a little colder on this particular weekend. I'm sure it'll be a lot warmer in February. David, let's then transition over into the by the numbers. You and I talked a lot about it in the Outlap, our preview podcast, with the fact that it's hard to really gauge against last year's numbers at 316, the high watermark of any event in Superkarts USA competition since 2010, other than the Super National. So 316 entries at last year's opening round of the Winter Series. It's funny when you say, oh, there was 231 entries at this one. You're like, wow, it was down. It's down from the 316. 231 entries still, and you're talking really still only about 8 categories. Yeah, 9 were available, but there was only 1 in Master Shifter. You have 0 down here. I'm sure that maybe Nikki Boole moved over to the Pro Shifter category. So that's still a fantastic number for any kind of a winter program, breaking that 230 mark.
Yeah, he did move over to just the Pro Shifter category, so it made it easier for everybody in terms of that. So we'll likely not have any Master Shifter at the second event as well. Indeed. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, 231, it's a solid number. And again, it's a move of the event to Texas. We saw, walking through the paddock, a number of teams that typically would be there were not. You look at Parolin USA, you look at Rocket Racing Company. Those two just stand out as teams who weren't there. So that's, anywhere between 10 to 15 to 20 entries there. For sure. So again, the split of that, so some of these teams are going to focus on the Florida Winter Tour because it's home. Some are going wherever the customers are wanting them to go. So again, you're not quite sure exactly, what we were going to get, but it's still 231 is a solid number. We had good fields in all of them. Pro Shifter obviously, and KA Master, the only ones below the 20 mark. So again, that's a positive. And you're looking at KA Master at 19, so they're almost there. Yeah. To 20, and Pro Shifter at 15. A lot of them are drivers into their second year, or even a couple rookies in there as well too. So again, that's, Pro Shifter was 40. What would we have? 40, I think, last year at the Winter Nationals. So again, there's a lot of numbers missing. But again, KA Senior not opened up to, or KA Junior not opened up to more than 44. So that's part of it as well. So a lot of different factors in terms of that. There's a lot of racing going on in 2026, and there was a lot of racing in 2025. So again, we'll kind of monitor the numbers. There's really there's no exact science to them, Rob. It's not, there's no formula.
Well, to be real, Pro Shifter really never has been very strong on the Winter Series, right? You haven't been getting the 30 or 40 that you would get at the Pro Tour in this kind of revitalization of gearbox racing under the KZ platform. But 15 still in Pro Shifter, as you said, was good. In the cadet categories, 26 drivers in micro, 35 in mini, so strong there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories above 30, which is always a big mark. X30 Junior at 33, KA 100 Junior at 37. Masters, as you said, KA Master at 19, just that one away from 20. Still a good field for these drivers in the Master category, getting a chance to race each other. KA 100 Senior at 36, Pro X30 at 30, and 15 in the Pro Shifter category. David, any other thoughts before we break and come back with the paddock pass?
Yeah, no, that's just part of it. The industry's a little split up because of that. The scenario with, again, teams have went from Texas last weekend and are already set up in Florida, getting ready for the Florida Winter Tour. So again, there's just a lot happening. So there's no way to kind of predict the kind of numbers we're going to get.
One maybe good positive is that everybody's not camped out. And I know it's good for the teams to be camped out at Orlando for 7 straight weekends with the Rotax racing being in there. But I think it's a little nicer to have a little bit more diversity in terms of venues, as opposed to locking down a place for 7 straight weekends and burning everybody out over almost 2 full months. So so Rock is going to be in Florida. We know that SCUSA and Rotax going to be in Texas to start things off here in the winter through Q1. Obviously interesting to see how the trends will play out in terms of numbers as we start the season. As I said to David before, off to our first break right now. When we get back, we'll dive into the Paddock Pass, brought to you by Kart CRG USA. Let decades of experience and success lead you to the top of the podium. Join Brandon Jarczyk Racing as your race team at the sport's major events in the United States. Brandon Jarsakrak is a 4-time United States Pro Kart Series champion, along with a multi-time Superkarts USA Pro Tour and WKA Manufacturers Cup Series race winner. Jarsakrak is ranked among one of the best from his generation to get behind the wheel of a racing kart. BJR provides full race team service and support at all USPKS, SCUSA, and Stars Championship Series events, along with trackside programs at the Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Partnering with Mike Doty Racing, Brandon's team of driver coaches and mechanics are passionate for the sport, providing decades of experience both on the track and working with many of today's karting standouts and current motorsport stars. Brandon Jarsakrak Racing offers a full range of services, including kart preparation, driver coaching, and race event support for both 2-cycle and 4-cycle competitors. BJR is an official LN Racing Kart team with OTK USA and is an official offset sport race team. Contact them today to develop a program based around your needs. Head to BrandonJarsakrak.com to learn more.
Welcome to AIM Sports and the groundbreaking Micron 6 karting data logger. Since its inception, AIM Sports has been at the forefront of motorsport technology, revolutionizing how racers gather data. From its early days, AIM has tailored its innovations to provide precise insights, allowing racers to fine-tune their strategies and push their limits. Fast forward to today, and we're excited to celebrate 30 years of Micron by introducing the latest evolution in karting data loggers, the Micron 6. Designed with cutting-edge features, including 25Hz GPS with mil-spec precision, a 6-axis inertial platform, shift lights and alarms, temperature inputs, and a host of wired and wireless expansions. With 2 CAN buses, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, it's perfect for karting enthusiasts looking to enhance their game on the track. With its advanced suite of sensors, high-speed data acquisition, and easy-to-use interface, the Micron 6 delivers unparalleled performance on track. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this powerful tool helps you analyze every turn, every lap, even every heartbeat. Imagine a tool that not only records your lap times, but also analyzes parameters like speed, tire temperature, driver inputs, and engine performance. With the Micron 6, you'll gain insights that can shave seconds off your times and elevate your skills behind the wheel. Don't just drive, be data-driven. Join the AIM Sports community today and equip yourself with the Micron 6 to take your karting experience to the next level. Visit aimsports.com to learn more. AIM Sports, 30 years of Micron.
Welcome back to episode number 161 of the EKN Debrief. It is January the 14th, 2026. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole, who was trackside throughout the weekend at the Superkarts USA Winter Series opener in Texas this past weekend. Diving now into the Paddock Pass, give you a little bit of information that really didn't happen on the track itself. Today's Paddock Pass presented by Kart CRG USA. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. Kart CRG USA is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside of Texas, Houston, Texas, CRG USA supports dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. Check out the CRG KT5 for tag and shift racing, the Black Mirror for cadet competition, and the FS4 for Briggs. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, is still available. For more information on the CRG product line, head to kartcrgusa.com, and to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at info@kartcrgusa.com. All right, David, let's have a look at what is essentially the Paddock Pass, what you brought in as the Paddock Insider throughout the weekend. Give me your thoughts and some notes from trackside down in Speedsportz.
Yeah, we mostly already kind of talked about it. Speedsportz welcoming Superkarts USA for the Winter Series. Again, a new era for the program. walking through the paddock, everybody seemed to be in good spirits. Start of a new year, so again, the stress is not quite there yet in terms of logging in the many miles or many hours at the racetrack after a Christmas break. For some, they continued racing, went right from WK Daytona Kart Week to Texas, so they're a little long travel times already logged in by some of those in the industry as well. But, kind of the main point talking with everybody was where we were going for the Winter Nationals. That was the big topic walking around Thursday evening and then Friday during during practice day. So that was really the story. And obviously we got in information about that. I think what it came out Saturday morning, I think is when everything came to be known. In terms of the Winter Nationals, that was really the focal point of everybody's conversations. As the Superkarts USA announced, they'll be heading to the Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona for the 2026 Winter Nationals to kick off this year's Pro Tour program, but also working with the Race Road Tax, which will host 3 Road Tax racers either prior to or the weekend after all 3 SCUSA Pro Tour events as well. So big major news that did hit Saturday morning. Obviously, it was a rumor. Everybody heard Musselman Honda was the rumor. Okay, that's where everybody was going.
It was going around the paddock.
Oh yeah, it was. It was. Yeah, that's what everybody was talking about on Friday and Thursday. So, it was one of the worst kept secrets in the sport.
You did say that. Yeah. Hey, listen though, fantastic racetrack as just the track itself, nothing else. That racetrack, you know how much I love calling races there, David. We go there a lot to cover it. We're there with the challenge quite a bit in years past. SCUSA's been there in years past. I love that racetrack just simply in terms of wheel to wheel. It races so well. And then, hey, shout out to Charlie and the team there. They totally paved the paddock area as well. That was one of the big contentions on that track was it was a dirt paddock. They have paved the paddock and they paved the entry road in as well. They built a brand new velodrome for cyclists. They've done a lot of work at Tucson. So I'm excited to get back.
Yeah, 2011 and 2013 were the years that the Superkarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals were held there.
Boom.
And again, as you remember, during those years, that was when the Spring Nationals was the opening event of the Pro Tour. So, there's some history there with Superkarts USA. More than 13 years ago was the last time they were there. So not much has changed regarding the racetrack. But yeah, as you said, the paddock is now paved. They have that velodrome to the west of the paddock, which I think was a big major part of that to provide people parking areas.
Yep.
Bicycles do not like dirt and stones, so that's probably one of the big reasons for that. As they are again, they've tried to do different things there throughout the years. There was talk of a big motorsports park being established there, but that hasn't gone through. But this velodrome has been constructed and is there. So the paved paddock will certainly be nice for everyone. And then March, it's probably not going to be that terrible in terms of weather. So it's a blacktop. Could get blistering hot during the summer months, but certainly for the month of March shouldn't be too bad. So definitely a lot easier than rolling through the dirt and seeing all the dirt devils rolling around there. But racetrack wise, that's what everybody was questioning, talking about. Obviously, it's a great racetrack to compete on. Big flowing racetrack, which is people were like, well, what about why not Phoenix? I go, well, it's a little bit more of a tougher racetrack. Yeah. So this one's, and again, lots of room, so that's not an issue. Just the amenities I think are kind of lacking. They did add on a new bathroom to that west side of the paddock, so that should help. But again, they'll probably have to bring in a scoring trailer to house all the video and scoring personnel, because that tower that we typically walk up and down will not hold more than 4 people in it.
I agree. Yeah, they won't be able to put their entire SCUSA crew there. That's a good point, Dave. There's a lot of work to be done on that side in terms of logistics for the event. But back into the paddock pass, one of the big things, David, you were kind of jumping on throughout Friday, Thursday, rather, when you got there Thursday night, but Friday, new homes for a lot of drivers. There were a number of competitors with different teams, different colors, a lot going on in the offseason that debuted at the Speedsportz last weekend.
Yeah, just kind of pointing out and showing the new drivers at different teams to start off the 2026 season. Obviously, the big story was Oliver Hodgson making the move over to Factory Karts. He's very excited about the new opportunity of working alongside Billy Musgrave as the godfather of Factory Karts. Canadian Aiden Ingrata and Mexico driver Donovan Bonilla, both drivers in the Pro X30 category as well, moved to new places. Ingrata over to Racing Edge Motorsports, joining the Canadian team. We'll be kind of focusing on the SCUSA program with them in 2026. And then Bonilla, moving from Rolison Performance Group over to Speed Concepts Racing, just looking for something new, a new place to compete at when he does come here in the States. And again, focusing on Superkarts USA Winter Series and Pro Tour as well. We did have one rookie in the Pro Shifter category. That was Kyle Drysdale, the junior driver last year, making the move over from RPG over to Trinity Karting Group, making that jump up from the junior ranks to the Pro Shifter. Max Weiland, a junior driver, up to the senior ranks as well. He was competing in Pro X30 and KA100 Senior, making the move from Magic Kart USA to the MPG Motorsports crew on the Kart Republic, as he will be competing in select WSK and FIA events in Europe with Kart Republic. So that was kind of the focus of that. And then a temporary home, at least for now, regarding Enzo Di Janeiro, the Mini Swift champion last year, moving up to junior ranks this year. The Paralympic Motorsport USA team did not attend the opening round of the SCUSA Winter Series, and Di Janeiro was looking to get more track time, having not been in the kart since the Rotax Grand Finals in December. So he hooked up with Brandon Jarzakrak Racing to be able to compete with them in the X30 junior division. And Rob, it was a good the Rotax Grand Finals. That's kind of where Paulie Massimino and Brandon Jarzakrak really got to know Enzo Di Janeiro. Di Janeiro looked like a shadow on Paulie Massimino all weekend long.
I love that. Good stuff. There you have it, folks. There's your paddock pass. David providing us with a lot of insightful information from the event at Speedsportz. Paddock pass brought to you by Kart CRG USA. Into another break. On the other side, time to dive into the race report, which will be brought to you by Odenthal Racing Products. We'll kick off with Pro X30 and Pro Shifter. Paralympic is among the winningest brands in the USA and around the world. The Paralympic Le Mans full-size chassis for junior and senior classes and the Paralympic Opportunity model for cadet divisions have earned success weekend after weekend at all the major championships and events in both the USA and throughout Europe. The Paralympic chassis lineup also includes the Invader Shifter, along with the Daytona 4-cycle chassis and the Delfino Kid Kart. Karters can head to the ParalymPUSA.com website, where the entire chassis line and parts are available to you, with shipping available all across North America. Paralympic USA partners with several companies and race teams across the country to provide a strong dealer network to represent the brand locally and at the national level to support drivers throughout North America. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Paralympic. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Karts of America. Led by 5-time Super National champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Karts manufactures their frames completely in-house at the Phoenix, Arizona facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Karts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. Factory Karts bring together the highest quality materials to produce high-performance, long-lasting karts that have been designed and perfected from years of development. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product as Factory Karts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Join the Factory Karts official race team this season, hitting the Superkarts USA Pro Tour and Pro Kart Challenge, along with the new Southwest Super Series program. Full trackside support for Factory Kart competitors is available, along with Arrive and Drive programs and tent space housed under our new race team hauler that debuted at Super Nationals 27. Remember when American made meant more innovative, original, stronger, faster, and just plain better? Well, American made is back. Contact Factory Carts today to join the American made movement. Learn more by visiting factorycarts.com or email info@factorycarts.com. Welcome back to episode 161 of the EKN Debrief, as David breaking down all the action from this past weekend Superkarts USA Winter Series opener at Speedsportz Racing Park in Texas, as the SCUSA Winter Series making its debut in the Lone Star State. Diving now into the race report presented today by Odenthal Racing Products. Motor mounts are critical to producing 100% of the power your engine has to get it on the podium each and every time. Odenthal Racing Products provide the best in the karting market today. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience, providing products with unmatched quality and value for the karting market. Check out their Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines and their 4-cycle Easy Set for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Head to odenthalracing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, made in the USA. All right, Dave, we'll get things underway. Those of you may be joining us for the first time here in a debrief through 2026. I'll roll the headline out for the event. David will start filling in information. We'll start with Pro X30, presented by Kart CRG USA. And here's the headline: Hodgson and Massimino split opening weekend.
A very competitive weekend in the Pro X30 category, something we expected to see at Speedsportz, a track that does tend to show some competitive racing in many of the categories, and that's what we saw all weekend long. Blake Nash opened up the weekend with top qualifying time of 52.897 to lead the way. Ended up winning the pre-final over Oliver Hodgson and Gus Lawrence, the defending Super Nationals winner. The main event ended up being a 2-driver breakaway, however, with Nash and Hodgson able to get away. Hodgson took over the lead on lap 4 and essentially led the way from there. Nash continued to put on pressure, but just was not able to work by him. And Hodgson was able to score a massive victory in his debut with Factory Carts, edging out Nash at the line by just over a tenth. Some issues in this main event, however, post-race. Blake Nash was originally disqualified for a improper read. So they did the podium, promoted, I believe, Ingrata to second, Vanchev to third for the actual podium ceremonies. And then Sunday morning, they reinstated Nash to the second position as Tech issued a statement that it was a legal read. So again, some issues surrounding that in terms with IAME. We'll have to kind of dive into it a little bit more, but they thought it was an aftermarket read. Yeah. It ended up not being that, so he was reinstated. Ingrata was moved to second and then moved back to third, but he wasn't originally on the podium, as that was Davin Roberts, who also finished across the line in third, but was disqualified for improper cylinder. So that was a kind of a big blow to the young driver, and he elected to not compete on Sunday. So Ingrata ended up finishing third overall out on the official results. Vanchev to fourth, and then Gus Lawrence finishing in fifth. And actually, Vanchev was the quickest driver in the main event on Saturday.
I'd be interested, David, to figure out with that Hodgson victory on the American-made factory kart, when was the last time a Pro X30, like a Pro single-speed category, had an American chassis win? I know we go back to Truly Adams winning what was the Spring Nationals in Utah in a KA category, but in a Pro class single-speed, when was the last time we had an American chassis win a national event?
Well, I'm looking at Spring Nats right now. There isn't one there. I can look at the Winter Nationals right now, and I don't believe there was one there. But again, I'm looking at Pro Tour events. So
yeah, we'll dive into that. I think it's a monumental victory for Oliver Hodgson. Factory Carts, as we know, American-made machinery, and again,
we did have a Talcart or iCart win back in 2015. Jesus Rios was able to double up in Newcastle. So
impressive.
So essentially, you can look back, 11 years since we've seen an American-made chassis winning in the X30 category.
Look at you, David, digging in and seeing that. Well done. Yeah, Jesus Rios on the iCart. Yeah, shout out. Memories of John Martin. Amazing stuff there. David, qualifying rolling in on Sunday. You mentioned that Alexander Vanchev fell back early and was able to work his way back forward. A good run for Vanchev back up into the top 5 on Saturday, but out of the gate very strongly with a 52.525. Over 0.3 quicker than Nash on Saturday, but you did mention that the temperature change. Vanchev goes pole to start off the day.
Yeah, fell back to 23rd in the main event after some opening lap contact, and drove his way up into the top 5 in that main event. Came out, as you said, fastest driver on Friday. That was something, or Sunday, something me and Mattia were watching there in our quote unquote media room that we were bunkered in. The lap times were certainly quicker, and he's pretty good at lap times. It was really fun to kind of guess and see how much the categories were gaining compared to Saturdays. Where again, Saturday we had a lot of rain throughout that Friday evening, so it was a cold and not necessarily wet racetrack, but a drying track. And with no rain on Saturday night, kept the kind of the rubber and the grip level up there, and so we did see a lot of faster laps in qualifying on Sunday throughout the day. So, Vanchev started off the day with fast time, but ended up dropping back to 4th in the pre-final in a very good race that saw Gus Lawrence winning over Paulie Massimino and Oliver Hodgson. We broke into the main event. The top 4 broke away with Lawrence, Massimino, Hodgson, and Ingrata. Eventually, a second group came in after there was a lot of fighting for the lead. That group was led by Blake Nash, who actually started the main event in the 15th spot due to a broken or bent steering shaft that put him in 15th. He held on to the end of the pre-final. So he powered his way forward, eventually catching that lead group of 4 and working his way up into the lead by lap 17. However, Paulie Massimino retook that position back on lap 18. As the white flag waved, Nash dove to the inside at turn 1, the very fast turn 1 corner where you don't see a lot of passing. Massimino gave him a little bit room. Nash obviously going up and over the curbing, but Massimino had the right line for the right-hand turn 2, which allowed him to maintain the lead. Unfortunately for Nash, he got shuffled back all the way back to the 6th spot as Paulie Massimino was able to hold on and scoring his first ever SCUSA Winter Series victory.
Yeah, big victory for Massimino. Watch the end of that one. Oliver Hodgson coming home in 2nd spot. Gus Lawrence, who won the pre-final right there in that fight early, as David had mentioned, coming home P3, so 3 different chassis on the podium. Aiden Ingrata coming home in 4th, and Vanchev finishing up in the 5th spot. All told, some pretty good racing in Pro X30, David, to start off 2026.
Certainly that. I would expect to see a lot more of this come in February and obviously throughout the season as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just getting things fired up for the brand new season of competition. Let's go to Pro Shifter now, brought to you with Superkarts USA Winter Series by PSL Karting. Here's the headline: Irwin and Bailiff lead Birol Art sweep.
Yeah, they were able to win the main event on the weekend, but it was a Maranello up front in qualifying, as Justin White, last year a winner at the SCUSA Winter Series, able to put down a 50.142 as he was able to manipulate the colder yet somewhat damp racetrack Saturday morning. However, Irwin got him in the pre-final as the Kiwi went on to take the win over White, with Bailiff finishing 3rd, and then Billy Musgrave in the 4th spot. Those were essentially kind of the top 4 drivers there on Saturday, as Irwin was able to get the whole shot. Musgrave went to 2nd, while Bailiff got caught off guard by the start, fell back to 5th, and actually almost spun out at one time as well too. So he had to kind of power his way back forward, as both White and Bailiff were able to get by Musgrave. Eventually, Musgrave ended up having a broken kingpin bolt, so he was forced off the racetrack as he felt the vibration. Unfortunately, had to pull off with the front end, not exactly the alignment he needed to power through. So up front, Irwin had the lead. Bailiff moved to 2nd on lap 11, and that's how they would run, as Irwin took the victory by 4 seconds over Bailiff, with White finishing in third.
Cooper Becklin finishing in the 4th spot, and Ashton Henkel on the Bureau Art capping off the top 5. Irwin, David, kind of had that momentum rolling. In fact, just this morning, rewatched the interview that you had with him after his win on Saturday. Came out of the gate very strongly on Sunday, put it on the pole with a 49.838 and proceeded to win the pre-final as well.
Yeah, 0.3 quicker than the Saturday qualifying fast time. So as we said, got quicker and quicker. And I think he was the only driver to get into the 49s in that qualifying session. So certainly had the pace early on in the day as he went on to win the pre-final ahead of Musgrave and Bailiff. Unfortunately, Musgrave got the whole shot at the start of the main event and was able to kind of maintain the pace with Bailiff moving up into the 2nd spot. So that put Irwin back into the 3rd. Eventually, Bailiff went on the attack on lap 18, catching Musgrave by surprise with a move to the inside at turn 8. Irwin was able to follow him through, so that put Musgrave back to the 3rd spot. The following lap, Musgrave went on the attack on Irwin, taking back the 2nd position. And this was essentially the advantage Bailiff needed to cruise to the victory, taking the win by 1.1 seconds to earn his 2nd victory in 3 races at the Speedsportz Racing Park.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And listen, when you take a lead like that, all you ever want is the guys behind you to start battling. And Bailiff took full advantage of that. 1.163 seconds, the win over Musgrave. Irwin in 3rd spot. Another P4 for Cooper Becklin. And Diego Ardiles up into the 5th spot to cap off the weekend in Pro Shifter. David, any final thoughts on Pro Shifter before we go to the break?
Yeah, White had some issues there. Contact actually in the main event took him out of the race. Ardiles was actually quick. I want to say he qualified either 2nd overall or 3rd overall, and just wasn't able to get off the line. So that hampered him in the pre-final, put him towards the back. So he was able to work his way back into the top 5 to end up the day on Sunday.
All right, after another break, we get back. Our Odenthal Racing Products Race Report will continue. We'll have KA 100 Senior, X30 Junior, and KA 100 Junior up next. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlison Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlison Performance Group. We race to win. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry, and with over 30 years of combined karting experience, we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away. We continue to add to our growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, the ceramic product line, Driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, Smoker performance sprockets, OTK products, AIM, MG tires, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. Be sure to stop by the Franklin trailer during the United States Pro Kart Series events as the official trackside vendor. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief as we are diving into the Superkarts USA Winter Series opener from Speedsportz Racing Park this past weekend. David Cole was, of course, trackside with the EKN coverage throughout the entire weekend. He's doing the heavy lifting here this weekend, as I was not down in Texas. David, let's go to KA100 Senior, presented by Orsilon Racing. Here's the headline. Garzon and Lloyd run away with victories.
Yeah, quite an interesting weekend, KA Senior. Again, a very competitive one. A lot of different drivers in the mix, so it was really anybody's game throughout the weekend. Mateo Rubio Luengo struck first with fast time in qualifying at 54.990. He, however, had contact in the pre-final, which pushed him out of the top five, allowed Colin Lloyd to come through with the race win ahead of Cash Perkins and Jared Clark, finishing in the third spot. Main event time, however, Garzon ended up being the quickest driver, ended up finishing 10th in the pre-final, worked his way up into the top five by lap 6. He was able to run down Cash Perkins and Colin Lloyd, who broke away from the field. Once he ran him down, quickly got to the lead, and then fighting behind him for second allowed him to get away, eventually going on to take the victory by just over 0.7 of a second for his first SCUSA Winter Series victory.
Yeah, nice job. Well job there for Garzon. Mateo Rubio Luengo, we talked about him in the Outlap podcast. I hadn't heard that name in a couple of years. Colin Lloyd held on for third. So Garzon, Luengo, and Lloyd 1, 2, 3. Dave, Cash Perkins ends up in the fourth position, but he did not cross the line P4.
No, Donovan Bonilla ended up finishing crossing the line in fourth, but fell back to 6 in the final results due to a contact penalty. So that moved Cash Perkins up into the fourth spot, which ironically Bonilla's teammate now, right. And moved Jarrett Clark into the top 5.
Let's move to Sunday. It was Colin Lloyd coming out of the gate strongly, a 54.359. That trend of the track being much quicker on Sunday was evident as well in KA100 Senior. Over 0.6 of a second faster Lloyd than Rubio Luengo's fast time from Saturday. Colin Lloyd, David, qualifies on the pole, but Garzon, still very quick, was able to win that pre-final.
Yeah, great battle. Lloyd actually led a majority of that race, but unfortunately left the door open and got shuffled back to 5th in that pre-final as Garzon went on to take the win ahead of Luengo. Gassiet Lee, who was driving a new Bannock full-size kart, and Donovan Bonilla finishing in the 4th spot. Eventually ended up being Lloyd getting up to the front of the field after a chaotic opening lap. As he took the lead on lap 2, and from there was able to pull away. Wow. Just nobody was able to kind of match the early pace that Lloyd's had. And there was obviously a lot of battling going on behind him as well, too. So that benefited him as he was able to drive away to a 2.5 margin of victory for his return back to the top of the podium, having been a former Winter Series victory.
Yeah, champion in the category, right? Yeah, So Orsilon Racing getting the victory with Garzon in the opening round. Velocity Racing and Sodi Kart winning on Sunday. Garzon, very solid start to the year. Garzon P2 in race number 2. Mateo Rubio Luengo finishing in 3rd spot. Cash Perkins in 4th, and Chase Gassiet Lee on that Bannock, as David had mentioned, finishing in the 5th spot. But it was actually Finnegan Bailiff, David, was finished P5 on the road.
Yeah, unfortunately, a disqualification for Bailiff. I don't remember the technical infraction. I'd have to look that up. But yeah, Bailiff crossing the line in the 2nd spot, but was removed for I'm stalling as I'm looking to illegal spark plug.
Oh, man.
So there you go.
There you have it. All right, moving into the X30 Junior category, brought to you by the Rawlson Performance Group. Here is the headline. Golseth and Pettit earn career firsts.
Yeah, X30 Junior, very competitive as well. A lot of, as we talked about in the outlap, a lot of rookies that were in the field, but none of them really kind of stood out. It was a veteran front pack throughout the weekend, including a sophomore in the junior category, Royce Vega, picking up fast time in qualifying at 53.797 to lead the way. He went on to win the pre-final over RPG teammate Travis Pettit, with Trinity's Nico Katowski there in third, Antonio Pizzonia Nato in fourth, and then Liam Nakawati, the top rookie in the pre-final, finishing in fifth.
Let me interject first. Obviously, I want to say Royce Vega had some speed and some motivation, David, based on the fact that you forgot to mention him or did not mention him in the preview.
Yeah, I broke the curse, though, because I did say something to the dad after the pre-final. I should have just let it go and not mention anything. So,
yes.
Yeah. Next time I'll just, like I said, I told him I'm not even going to mention him anymore.
That's so funny. Yeah, listen, when we're putting these previews together, when David's writing previews or myself or whoever does it, you're doing the best you can to put everybody in, and sometimes just something slips through, you missed it. Royce, obviously, we talked a lot about Royce in the Outlap, the preview podcast, but yeah, he was miffed that David snubbed him in the preview and then went out and qualified on pole and won the pre-final, and then once you talk to him about it, didn't happen again.
Yeah, it's like talking about the no-hitter. I shouldn't have done that.
That's
so
it.
I'll know for next time not to mention.
Anyways, so
just
Vega,
do a thumbs up. That's all I'll do. I'll just be like thumbs up.
Vega wins the pre-final. David, I'll let you take it from there.
So again, it was a good little battle up front. Eventually, Pettit and Goldsmith were able to kind of break away from the lead pack, and each led with Pettit coming across the line as a provisional winner. Unfortunately, Pettit was penalized for scrubbing the tires after the commitment cone.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, they were up far enough to where the 3-second penalty only put him down to second. However, it put the new Speed Concepts racing driver Nathan Goldseth on top of the podium for his first SCUSA Winter Series victory, taking the victory over Pettit. Woon in the third spot, Tristan Murphy fourth, and then Mateo Calderon up to the fifth spot after penalties.
Yeah, so the number of the guys we talked about in the preview show, we expected to be up there. So Goldsmith, Pettit, Woon, Murphy, and Calderon, very impressive runs. Royce Vega, we talked about him already, ends up P7 in that race. David Pettit, obviously won on the racetrack, got the issue for scrubbing tires, but he did not let that deter him from keeping that speed rolling. You'll fill in all the gas, but essentially he swept the action on Sunday.
He did 53.091 to lead the way in qualifying, went out to win the pre-final ahead of Royce Vega, Ashton Woon third, and Nathan Goldseth fourth, and Tristan Murphy in the fifth spot. Pettit led the first 17 laps before Goldseth finally took on the attack, taking over the lead. After the white flag, however, Pettit went to the outside of turn one. So Goldseth went defensive. Pettit ran around the outside, which set him up for the inside of turn two, allowing him to come through with the lead. And that was the win right there, as Pettit was able to hold on through the final corners, taking the victory by just over 0.8 of a second at the line.
Yeah, going to be very tight in the championship points leading to the final two rounds in February. Pettit with the win, Goldsmith in second, Royce Vega onto the podium in third spot. Ashton Woon, back-to-back top fives, ends up fourth, ahead of Tristan Murphy as well. So a lot of the same names you're seeing in the top five, and not surprising on a weekend like that. But yeah, with Pettit and Goldsmith, Pettit will have the point lead. I expect Goldsmith to be right there, though, with a victory, and then second and fourth in a pre-final. Goldsmith is going to be right there as well. So the battle for the Winter Series championships, of course, all coming down to that second weekend, the third and fourth rounds of the series, but it's going to be very, very tight in the X30 junior category. A lot of the times you'll see many of the same names in the KA100 junior category. Yeah, they're there, but there's a number of other names, David, who found themselves in the top five in KA100 junior, which is presented by TKG Bureau Art USA. Here's the headline. Cox earns first as Kemper named winner in round two.
Yeah, technically 4 different drivers winning the 4 junior main events on the weekend. So definitely different names up there for sure, including Easton Cox, a Texas driver setting fast time and qualifying at 56.035 as he finished second to his High Five Performance teammate Tyrone Kemper Jr., the 2-time Texas Sprint Racing Series champion. So Texas certainly showing the way in the KA junior category. Ended up being, however, Travis Pettit, who finished fourth in the pre-final, jumping up and joining Easton Cox up front as they were able to pull away. On the last lap, Easton Cox went to the lead in turn 8, and that was the deciding factor as Easton Cox was able to hold off Pettit at the line by just 72 thousandths of a second to secure his first SCUSA Winter Series victory.
Yeah, that's big for Easton, big for the High Five crew as well, and they'll come back, as we know, on Sunday as well. Pettit finishing in second, Nathan Goldseth in third, Katowski into the 4th spot, Murphy in 5th. So, again, a good run of different chassis up front as well. But as David said, the Easton Cox, a very solid battle against Pettit to come away with that victory. A new name, though, David, not one we talked about in the opening round on Saturday, coming out as the top qualifier, a 55.489 for Colton Schniegenberg.
Yeah, the junior rookie who's been raced many, both here in the U.S. and internationally, made his junior debut. As you said, set fast time in qualifying on Sunday. Unfortunately, got shuffled back through the pre-final, ended up finishing in the 16th spot in the pre-final. So not a great way to capitalize on a very fast kart in qualifying. The win, however, did go to Tyrone Kemper Jr. Ahead of Nathan Goldseth with Max Cristia in the 3rd spot. Cristia was actually up front on Saturday in the pre-final, but a mechanical issue forced him to retire in that pre-final event, but this time coming back, finishing 3rd in this heat or in this pre-final. It was Cristia, Kemper, and Pettit that led multiple times throughout the main event until eventually Nicholas Orbezo, who had worked his way up from the 11th spot into the lead by lap 10. Kemper and Pettit continued to challenge Orbezo for the lead as they went into the second half of the main event. Finally, on the last lap, Orbezo went to the lead, and was leading up until the final hairpin, where Pettit dove to the inside, jumping over the curb, bogged down the cart, had lost all momentum, and the entire lead pack swarmed around Pettit. So unfortunately, Pettit could do nothing but watch as the entire field essentially went by him, or at least the entire lead group went by him as they made their way to the checkered flag, where Orbezo was able to cross the line first to take the provisional victory. Unfortunately, this race, however, saw a lot of penalties throughout the field, including the lead pack for contact. Orbezo fell to 8th place.
So David, across the line, it's Orbezo, Murphy, Kemper, Goldseth, Cox, and Pettit.
Yes.
And now roll out the penalties. This is crazy.
So it was Orbezo getting a penalty, so he fell to 8th. Murphy had a penalty, fell to 9th. Cox had a penalty, fell to 10th. So this shuffled up the finishing order, putting Tyrone Kemper on top of the podium for his first SCUSA Winter Series victory, as he edged out Nathan Goldseth, who finished 2nd. Pettit moved up to 3rd after all of that. Max Cristia finishing in the 4th position, and Eli Steinbruck in the Tony Kart finishing in 5th.
Man, what a wild finish. Everything kind of locking down, as David said, in that final right-hand hairpin. And then, of course, all those penalties shaking things down as well. So, big weekend for the High Five guys, with Easton Cox and Tyrone Kemper coming away with race wins. A bunch of different names in KA 100 Junior for the opening round of the Winter Series. Back into another commercial break. We get back, we'll cap off the race report with KA 100 Master, Mini, and Micro Swift. There's a new hot button name in American safety equipment, Stilo USA. Every product with Stilo is focused on safety, comfort, and function. Stilo USA is happy to provide you with the proper safety apparel to keep you protected on the track, and their karting lineup is second to none. New to the product lineup is the Stilo Carbon CMR karting helmet. Designed to revolutionize your karting experience, this carbon fiber crafted helmet is among the lightest on the market, without compromising on safety. The Stilo ST5 KRT karting helmet is manufactured using a lightweight and extremely strong composite material. The KRT provides an excellent fit and comfort level due to its dual density interior foam lining, and it's equipped with a symmetrical visor that offers excellent vision and an effortless central visor locking system. The Stilo ST5 CMR standard was developed jointly by the FIA Institute and Snell Memorial Foundation to ensure safer and lighter weight helmets for younger karters. Drivers rave about the superior comfort levels, lightweight construction, and the unparalleled field of vision that is perfect for the youth helmet line. Stilo didn't stop with their helmets either. The newly developed Carbon Curva rib protector is unlike any other on the market, with a form-fitting solution to offer superior protection. The Carbon Curva 8870 version is FIA homologated and includes a chest protector. Head to stilohelmets.com to review these products and many more to keep you safe on the track. Stilo, any competition, one helmet. Winning takes top quality equipment, flawless preparation, experienced coaching, and passion. And at Team GFC, we live our passion. Developed by American karting champion Gary Carlton, the GFC chassis has become one of the newest brands to reach the top of the podium in North America. GFC has garnered victories and championships at all levels of the sport since its debut at the end of 2018. Shifter car drivers are at the front of the field in the GT14 frame, with the SS31 a consistent contender in tag and 100cc competition. Team GFC has arrive and drive packages available for all categories, including the mini and micro classes utilizing the GFC RR5 cadet chassis. These young pilots have the opportunity to be part of the Team GFC Young Driver Development Program. Learn from one of the best American karters with 28 years racing at the highest levels in the sport, offering personalized training on and off the track. Follow GFC Karting on Facebook and Instagram, or click over to gfckarting.com to learn more about joining Team GFC. GFC, live your passion. Welcome back to episode number 161 of the EKN Debrief as we cap off our EKN trackside coverage of the opening round of the Superkarts USA Winter Series, which was held this past weekend down at Speedsportz Racing Park in New Caney, Texas. David Cole was there trackside all weekend long, battling the differing temperatures throughout the 3 days of action, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll cap things off here in the Odenthal Racing Products Race Report with three more categories: KA 100 Master, Micro, and Mini Swift. In the KA 100 Master category, presented by IAME USA West, here's the headline: Boley sweeps main event in series debut.
Yeah, the young gun did it in the category filled with old men racing still.
Veterans. What are you talking
Veterans,
about?
yes. Veterans. I can say it. I'm old. So
yeah, you are. You're not a veteran.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
You went across the bottom.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I see where we're going on this. Yes. So 19 drivers made up this field. Again, a lot of different drivers could have been in contention. So weren't quite sure exactly how it was going to unfold throughout the weekend. Surprisingly, Judad Din, a driver with some experience there at the Speedsportz Racing Park, racing for Orsalon Racing, a 56.398 put him on the pole position for the pre-final with the fast time in qualifying. Unfortunately, contact, however, for him did not allow him to finish up front in the pre-final, and collected a few others as well, including Scott Falcone and others who were racing for the lead. This allowed Mario Barrios to escape with the race win in the pre-final ahead of Trevor McAllister, Miguel Mir, Slade Miller, and Brian Beloy. In the main event, however, it was Barrios leading before Beloy took over on lap number 10. 3 laps later, however, Barrios pulled off to the side of the racetrack with a broken throttle, so ending his chance at battling for the victory. This allowed Boley to go on to win his first SCUSA Winter Series event, taking the checker flag 5 seconds ahead of the battle for second that included Trevor McAllister taking the position. Falcone was actually in third spot, battling with McAllister, but unfortunately got spun around with 2 laps to go. This allowed Miguel Mir to go on to cross the line in the third position. However, he was penalized for advancing position after the commitment cone. That put him back into the 5th position in the final standings, moving Super Nationals podium finisher Carlos Calderon into the 3rd spot. And then Jose Eduardo de la Garza Elizondo.
That's impressive, David.
I mean, that's a long word or long name.
Long name. Yeah. That's
the driver for RPG moving up to the 4th spot. Pretty impressive for him, actually. Not really knowing where he's competed at, but to top 5 in a field like that, pretty solid.
And then Miguel Mir with that penalty, as David mentioned, back into the 5th position. So Brian Boley out front very nicely, 5.6 seconds the victory. He would keep that momentum rolling into Sunday, qualifying on pole with a 55.948, about 4/10 quicker than Din was on Saturday. Boley would go on to win the pre-final, David, over Mario Barrios.
Yeah, again, those two were kind of setting the pace throughout the day. Calderon was 3rd. And not quite there. Main event, same thing. The top 2 of Beloy and Barrios getting away. They went back and forth a number of times in the main event. Eventually, in the closing lap, Beloy was able to secure Boley was able to secure the lead, and as Barrios lost momentum, so this allowed Boley to take the victory by 1.2 seconds at the line. So a sweep of the main events for Boley on the weekend.
Yeah, McAllister there in 3rd, so a couple of podiums for T-Mac. Scott Falcone bouncing back from that DNF, the spin rather, in race number 1. He finishes in the 4th spot, back-to-back top 5 finishes for Miguel Mir. So a good start for Brian Boley. He'll lead the points into the 3rd and 4th rounds next month. David, just a quick little question from me. Our good buddy David Pergande, P5 in the pre-final on Sunday. What happened to David in the main?
I think it just got shuffled back. Okay. I think he was racing Mir for that position.
Okay.
He actually had a DQ in qualifying on Saturday, so that's why we didn't really see him up towards the front on Sunday or on Saturday. But was in the mix on Sunday. Actually ended up finishing in 8th, but it was a big group there racing for the 5th and 6th positions.
Nice. Okay, good stuff. Let's go to Mini Swift right now, presented by Paranzino Chassis Jig. Here's the headline: Manalio and Godshock celebrate first wins.
Yeah, again, very competitive weekend in all categories, including the Mini Swift division. Texas driver Brody Stoffel on the Nitro Kart, setting a fast time in qualifying of a 59.166. Unfortunately, wasn't able to translate that into a win in the pre-final, as Jake Manalio was able to score the win ahead of Win Godshock, with Lorenzo Lopez moving up into the 3rd spot. It was Manalio, Lopez, and Hudson Howard who moved his way up from 5th into the lead group. Those 3 drivers are able to pull away for the battle in the lead pack. On the last lap, Jake Manalio went to the outside at the end of the straightaway over Lopez and was able to take the lead coming out of the corner and able to hold on through the final few corners. As again, once their battling happened, brought in a whole bunch of drivers in at the end. And Manalio was able to hold on through to the checkered flag to secure his first SCUSA Winter Series victory.
Yeah, David, looking at the notes here, I didn't get a chance to watch the main event here. Win Godshock coming home in 2nd spot on the track, but contact dropping him back.
Yeah, contact penalty dropped him from 2nd to 11th in the order. As we said, a lot of drivers came in towards the end of the race to kind of be in that pack for the finish. So that moved Lucas Tarango, the Micro Swift graduate, up into the 2nd spot. Salazar, I'm trying to think of his first name. I apologize for that. I didn't write it down. On the Tony Kart, finishing up on the podium in 3rd. Hudson Howard actually dropped to 4th, with Stoffel finishing in the 5th spot.
There you have it. On to the next race on Sunday, and it was David Lopez who had, you talked about him being up front there in that pre-final, did not make it into the top 5 on Saturday, but started off the day very strongly, finishing as the top qualifier with a 58.989.
Yeah, the CRG driver looked pretty good there in qualifying. Again, almost 2/10 quicker than what the lap time was on Saturday. Unfortunately, got shuffled back to the 4th position, as it was the Godshock brothers of Win and Zev Godshock going on to finish 1-2 in the pre-final, with Saturday's winner Jake Manalio finishing in the 3rd spot. Win Godshock was able to get away early from the pack, Unfortunately, he had a slower pace after leading, so the group was able to catch him, and he continued to kind of dwindle down running as the race went on. Looking at his social media, he said something about a flat tire, so possibly he had a tire going down, which kind of maybe slowed his pace because he had a massive lead after the opening couple of laps. But once I think everybody's tires came in, started falling down the order. So this allowed Mason, Brody, Lopez, and Howard to form up a lead pack as they were able to kind of break away from the group. They continued battling throughout the race. Eventually, on the last lap, Brody was leading as they came into that final hairpin. Hudson Howard, however, got into the back of him, pushed Brody wide. This contact allowed Hudson Howard Manalio to come through and get underneath Howard as they came through that last corner of Kink corner. They both went for the same piece of real estate, made contact. Howard went way off into the grass, nearly into the fence. Manalio pushed wide as well too. This allowed Mason Brody to slide through and provisionally cross the line as the race winner on the Nitro kart. So a very emotional scale line video for Brody and celebrating their provisional victory. Unfortunately, a DQ for spark plug length took the victory away. That promoted Zev Godchak, who crossed the line in the second spot, to the top of the podium in his Mini Swift debut.
Yeah, big weekend there for Zev Godchak. Tough one for Mason Brody, of course, with the spark plug issue. Jake Manalio then advances up into second. Dutch Westbrook up into the third spot. Brody Stoffel in fourth, and Win Godchak rounding out the top five. So there is your action in Mini Swift. And to cap off the race report, let's go to Micro Swift, presented by Avinco Tires. And here's the headline: Katowski goes perfect on weekend.
Yeah, nothing more to say other than that. Led every session, every lap of the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. A qualifying time of 1:60 seconds, 0.622, put him on the pole position. And as I said, led every lap of the pre-final and every lap of the final, driving away to a 15-second margin of victory in the main event on Saturday, winning the race ahead of Nitro Kart driver Tristan Francisco, Max Santana on the CRG in third, Dusty Strayer in fourth on the Paralin, and Romeo Ferrente on the Tony Kart in fifth.
As David said, just continuing pace, very similar lap time for Katowski on Sunday morning to qualify on pole, about 4/10 quicker. He and Francisco again 1-2 in the pre-final. Strayer was in there. Santana was in there. Schiavo actually up into the fifth spot in the pre-final, David. But again, you mentioned 15-second win on Saturday for Katowski. Why not do it again on Sunday, right? 15.7 seconds, the victory over Francisco.
Yeah, super good on the opening lap. I think he already had a 2-second lead after lap 2. So just a great performance by Katowski, who celebrated on Monday his 9th birthday. So definitely gave himself a birthday present with the sweep on the weekend, as you said, winning by 15 seconds, 15.7 seconds. So a little bit more of a gap on Sunday.
Tristan Francisco in second, Dusty Strayer in third. Shep Sullivan, a good run up for Shep, very new into the sport. Sullivan coming in fourth, and Max Santana back-to-back top fives for him as well. That caps off our race report, folks. Another break. When we come back, we'll cap it all off. As always, we'll look at our Constructors' Championship. David will wrap things up, and we'll have a look for the first time in 2026 at our EKN Trackside Live race calendar. All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the United States, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. 8 brands under the OTK USA banner are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the Rock Cup USA Florida Winter Tour, the Challenge of the Americas, the SCUSA Pro Tour and Winter Series, the United States Pro Kart Series, and even more programs throughout the country. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. Tony Kart, Cosmic, Esprit, EOS, and Red Speed have been joined by the Gallard, LN Racing Kart, and CS55 brands. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK USA dealer near you, visit otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK USA directly. OTK, the gold standard of karting. Wins at the sport's biggest races, as well as championships across all levels of karting, pack the resume for Nitro Kart. The Nitro Kart brand has made its statement as the best, fastest, and most reliable cadet chassis on the North American karting market. If you want to win in cadet, both in 2-cycle and 4-cycle competition, get a Nitro Kart and join the team. Team Nitro Kart will be at all major events, trackside with Ryan Perry Motorsport, the official race team. Owner Ryan Perry and his RPM operation carries the full selection of Nitro Kart chassis and parts, while also providing the same driver development focus as Nitro Kart owner Nick Tucker. You can also join the Team Nitro Kart race team at all major 4-cycle races this season. Led by longtime Nitro Kart tuner Cody Johnson, Team Nitro Kart will be at all the major Cup Karts North America events with arrive and drive opportunities available for all ages. Nitro Motorsports is a true karts-to-karts driver development program that is already gaining success after launching in 2022. Victories and championships in the Trans Am Series has highlighted the team's start, along with the success in the new GR Cup by Toyota. Current and former karters can take advantage of this unique ladder system with Nitro Kart and Nitro Motorsports. Visit Nitro Kart online and find them on social media. Nitro Kart, race one or chase one. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief to cap off our coverage from the Superkarts USA Winter Series opening rounds at Speedsportz Racing Park this past weekend in early January down in New Caney, Texas, as David mentioned from the get-go. Interesting weather. Warmest on Friday, kind of cool on Saturday, warmed up a bit on Sunday. There was some rain as well overnight, so the conditions were tough for the drivers for sure. But back at it to wrap things up here in the debrief. Well, as always, look at the Constructors' Championships. David, 16 wins all total, 8 different brands winning, and Birol Art with the lead with 4 wins on the weekend.
Yeah, I'm trying to do I think I figured I did this wrong. My math doesn't add up right for some reason.
You want to do a little bit of a adjustment on that right now?
It's almost like I'm missing a class, but I don't feel like I did. But yeah, so I have Birol Art at 4, Cosmic at 3, Red Speed at 2, Factory Karts 1, LN Kart 1, CS55 1, Nitro Kart 1, and Bennick 1. So we can, we got.
Well, you know what I think's cool is Birol Art with 4 wins in the top class,
Pro Shifter,
and the youngest class,
Shifter.
and the youngest class, which I think is super cool. Yeah. Teskey with a couple of wins, Irwin and Bailiff splitting in Pro Shifter.
Yeah, we got the Nitro Kart and Bennick for the Mini Swift category. KA Master was 2 Cosmic wins.
Yeah, for Bali.
We had 2 Red Speed wins from the KA Junior category.
High five crew, yeah.
We had a CS 55 and a Cosmic in the X30 Junior category. Did I forget KA Senior? I think that's where I forgot.
We are doing this on the fly, folks.
So Tony Kart and Sodi Kart. Yeah, there we go, Rob.
There you go.
So add Tony Kart and Sodi. So 10 brands. 10 brands, Rob.
Yep. Couple more single wins with Tony Kart and Sodi Kart.
I was like, I'm missing something. What's going on here?
Listen, we can bob and weave on the roll here. This is good.
It's like my previews, Rob. I can never get it right.
That's 100% true. All right. There you go. Hey, bottom line is Birol Art, very strong. Cosmic, of course, with RPG, Red Speed, Factory Karts, LN, CS55, Nitro Kart, Bennick, Tony Kart, and Sodi Kart. 10 different brands. Many of them, 7 of them grabbing just single victories. So good stuff there for sure. David, let's wrap things up. What are your thoughts on the weekend? There was a lot of stuff that happened. Let's roll in with the one that got some attention online. Let's wrap up the weekend in Speedsportz.
Yeah, I don't want to get into too much specifics.
No.
I'll just have everybody look at social media and certain websites. There was an altercation in X30 Junior on Saturday after the main event. The 2 junior drivers got into some contact on the racetrack. There was contact in the scale line between 2 of them, the same 2. And then the 2 fathers had some physical altercation happening So yeah, we ended up with one driver, one parent getting arrested, and the driver not returning on Sunday. So speaking with Superkarts USA, the driver that did carry out the alleged assault, again, it's alleged. You can look at the video yourself.
Yep.
Has been banned from Superkarts USA. Yeah, quite that's the unfortunate part of the weekend. Other than that, there really wasn't any kind of other heated situations or altercations happening throughout the paddock. So that was the only kind of bad note of the weekend that I know of, at least.
One good thing. Let's go to the positive side, David. No red flags. As a commentator, you never talk about it during the weekend until the last checkered flag is done. But anytime you go through a weekend of this magnitude with this kind of close racing, that you talked about how close the racing was, to have no red flags on a weekend, man, I just love hearing that.
Yeah, considering the Winter Nationals last year had a lot, including a really long one due to one of the drivers getting both legs broken. So yeah, to go from that weekend to this weekend was a great positive. A lot of people, you could say less entries, but I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think drivers were driving a lot better than what we saw at the Winter Nationals, where
that's a good question, David. Yeah, let's your thoughts on the overall driving. Was it pretty good?
I felt so. I didn't see. There's a lot of defensive driving, which you're going to get in today's world of karting, but I didn't see anything that was really terrible in terms of what kind of very similar to what we saw at the Winter Nationals, where guys are just blasting one another and just pushing drivers off the racetrack. So again, you're going to get a little bit of that in the mid pack and further back when you have some of the bigger fields, but nothing that was too outlandish or deemed unnecessary type.
Yep. That's good. I love that. That's awesome. I like one of your notes here, David. It gets cold in Texas.
It does, man. I wore shorts on Saturday thinking, oh, the sun's out, it'll be warm. It was quite chilly.
Well,
it was quite chilly. So, like I said, I thought I felt like we could have had frost there Sunday morning. It was clear skies and the sun was out, but it was a bit nippy. And I will say this, I will gladly take that over rain, because rain is just miserable. So,
100%. Yes.
Yes, I don't mind the cold as long as the sun is out and the skies are clear.
I love it. All right, let's move into the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar, presented today by Margay Racing. Check out Margay Racing's Spec Ignite class and their Arrive and Drive packages. Nothing matches the affordability and competitive level of the Ignite program. It's where the best driver wins over the best equipment. Bring your safety gear and Margay will take care of the rest. This year's Ignite majors include the WK Daytona Kart Week, Quincy Grand Prix, USAC Karting, Elkhart Riverwalk Grand Prix, and the Rock Island Grand Prix on Labor Day weekend. The Midwest-based Ignite Challenge Series will hit 5 different tracks in 2026, and be sure, to find a club running an Ignite class in your part of the country this season. For more information, visit ignitekarting.com today. Get off the couch and into a race seat. So this is the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. David, we're just getting things underway for 2026. I don't even know exactly how many races we're planning on hitting. I think it's going to grow a little bit with some of the stuff that's happening in terms of other races that have been added to the schedule. But if we're looking forward into the month of February, because we're essentially home until then, you're back at it February 13th to the 15th. SCUSA Winter Series, again, as we talked about already, will cap off the rounds 3 and 4 back at Speedsportz.
Yeah, excited to wrap up the championship, the first ever Winter Series program in Texas, and February 13th through 15th. Yeah, as you said, we may add another event prior to that. We're still kind of working out the details for that. So, but yeah, for now, we'll be our next trip is heading back to Speedsportz for SCUSA Winter Series. Then we'll head the weekend after, or I will, and then join you at Challenge of the Americas 2026 opener, February 20th through the 22nd at the K1 Circuit in Winchester, California, where the opening 2 rounds of the 8-round championship will kick off.
Yeah, I'll be actually flying on the Sunday when you're wrapping things up at Speedsportz Winter Series. I'm flying down to Homestead for the spring training for the USF Pro Championships. The first 3 races for USF Juniors happening down at Homestead Miami Speedway as well. Straight from there out to, as we said, out to California, Winchester, and the K1 circuit to kick off the Challenge of the Americas, the Challenge family coming back together again, 4-race program. But yeah, David, we may add another race there for you at the end of the month. We'll see how that plays out. But otherwise, we are back underway. Interesting looking at your schedule as it stands now, if there's not that many additions. You got a good cadence. You're like on, one off kind of thing for the season. I'm not quite so lucky with my karting / USF stuff. But yeah, back at it to start 2026.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, you'll at least with Challenge, you'll be able to get your first In-N-Out burger.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, 100%. Looking forward to getting some In-N-Out when we get out there. It was I really enjoyed the race last year, the challenge event at K1 circuit. It was our first time, David, to go to K1, where we were kind of announcing from and working from. They were working on it, so we got essentially covered in drywall dust the entire weekend. That's all done and dusted, so I'm looking forward to getting there now. Everything's totally complete at the racetrack, and again, the track races very well. So excited to get the challenge underway out at K1.
Yeah, and it should be some good numbers. Being the opening weekend, being in Southern California again. It's been a while since the challenge has opened up in Southern California, back when CalSpeed was still operating. So, yeah, I think it's going to be big numbers. Again, Southern California, a lot of teams based out of there. K1 circuit has a lot of regulars there. So I think we're going to see some good numbers. It'll be an introduction to the Briggs program with challenge as well. So we'll have to see what that brings. We'll obviously get the massive numbers in junior, senior, and master and cadet in the 2-cycle side, but we'll see what the Briggs categories do bring for 2026 at the challenge.
Get the thunder of the Briggs up. Have a good time. On the weekend, we had a good Briggs. Yeah, a good Briggs. Well, you and I both love Briggs. We know that. And they had a good program at Salt Lake City at Utah last year when they had a one-off for the Briggs program. So, yeah, I like that. I like the addition of the Briggs program. It'll be a good opportunity for Briggs drivers on the West Coast to have a fantastic 4-race series. So, good and ready to get things underway. David, any final thoughts before we cap off this edition of the Debrief?
No, just, a great way to start off the 2026 season. Again, very competitive racing throughout the weekend at Speedsportz. Just something about that racetrack that does it, whether it's defensive driving that the kids now are doing, or if it's just the competitive nature, everything getting tighter and tighter with all the different manufacturers and teams that are competing. So excited. It was an exciting start to the 2026 season, and looking forward to seeing more.
Yeah, a lot of great things. Obviously, to kick off the year with a clean weekend with no red flags, a bunch of new winners. David mentioned in one of the junior categories, 4 different winners in total in the four main events throughout the weekend there, or the 4 main events with the KA and the X30. Love to see different winners. Love to see new drivers working their way up the ranks, and a number of those who made a move up a level really stood out. So there could be some guys that challenge for championships throughout the entire season. Our first taste of racing in 2026. Great start to the Superkarts USA Winter Series. Of fantastic work from David Cole throughout the entire weekend to provide the coverage for those of us that weren't able to be trackside. Once again, big thank you to Comet Kart Sales, the presenting sponsor of the show here today. Not far along, folks. We'll be back around the corner with another Outlap podcast for the next event. We may have another race before David goes back the Winter Series at Speedsportz, so stay tuned. We'll have information on that. Otherwise, lots of coverage all year long here on ekartingnews.com. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.